Sub here, and doing my second video of the day. Kind of surprised. I don't usually do multiple videos in a day and put them out the same day, but today's special. Today, I get to revisit a little bit of an older video and then talk about some new stuff that's come up. So earlier in the week, I posted a video talking about the BobbyPoff situation and came up with a couple of different scenarios in which Bobby could have gotten banned and talked about some of the reasons why I think each one is possible and kind of put my chips on one option, and I need to revisit that because there's a fourth option out there that I neglected to mention, and that is a hacker has created a tool that allows them to enter anybody's Activision ID into the system and instantly ban them from the game. Oh, and that's the one it was. Oh boy, let's get into it. So, if you ever follow anything regarding coding or kind of the hacking community, you end up probably hearing about VX Underground. They're a collective group that kind of gathers all the known exploits and hacks out there and kind of puts them all in one place and talks and kind of like shares information about them so that people can keep track and kind of understand what's going on in the world. And earlier this month, at the beginning of the month, they posted this: a zero-day exploit is going to be dropped soon. We ourselves aren't entirely clear on the details. You can read that for yourself, but basically they talk about a video game zero-day exploit coming out, which not a lot of people really spent a lot of time talking about. It just kind of like it popped up and it went away. And then over the last over this month, I've kind of heard little tidbits here and there from different people and different sources that something big is coming. The most recent being Caps Lock having, Caps Lock having a conversation with a character named Ziebler or Zebler. I forget. I don't know which way to pronounce it. You can correct me in the comments if I'm doing it wrong. I'm gonna go with Ziebler. I think it sounds better to me. But and Ziebler mentioned something big coming, and everyone wants to know. And Caps Lock kind of he kind of knew this was coming a couple days ago. But today, Ziebler drops this, and I want to talk about what this means. So he says tomorrow. So this is today's today. This will be tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be sharing full details on the simple exploit that allows you to falsely, remotely, permaban anyone from Call of Duty by reason of cheating, even if you are not in their lobby. That's a big deal, okay? And he talks about how it was found, and then he talks about how it was he had it demonstrated that it was functional and that it actually worked. And so he gives a couple of names that were banned in recent memory. Nuke Jesus, a lot of people remember that was a big deal when when his account got banned. It has been subsequently unbanned. I mentioned that I believe in the video, and definitely talked about that on the podcast. And then Parasite and Censor, who are such as one of the bigger names in the scene for Call of Duty. So these guys got banned today, and everybody was shocked, right? I think they were shadow banned yesterday and permanently banned today, and then unbanned again. And this was kind of his proof of function. He mentions BobbyPoff and several others that he believes were victims. Bobby was actually unbanned today as well. So that's kind of that's a really interesting thing. So this hits the internet this evening, and it's kind of blown up. You can see it's got 191,000 views as of time of recording, which has only been a few hours. So it's blowing up on him. That being said, there's these sorts of things. They deserve skepticism. So I want to stop real quick and talk about who Ziebler is. Ziebler was kind of first teased out of the woodwork by Caps Lock in his bid to talk about cheaters and expose some of the ways that cheaters work in the game. And Ziebler actually is the creator, owner, and developer of the Phantom Overlay cheats, right? So he is the guy that creates the problem for a lot of us. And so it's it's a very unique situation where we have someone who is our adversary, right? As gamers, a cheat developer is someone that we generally don't look fondly upon and don't want to interact with, right? We consider them to go away, but um, he's been willing to talk to the community and answer questions and help people understand what cheats are, how they work, and what they do, which I think is an invaluable resource, and I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. Um, and and he's in this case is willing to expose this program that is horrific when when you stop and think about the implications of something like this. It's horrific. Okay. And so when I say horrific, what I'm talking about is, imagine a scenario in which anybody who's banned can simply say, "Oh, I was targeted. It's not my fault. I didn't do it." Right. And that's going to cover for a lot of cheaters, right? A lot of people who are cheating are going to use that cover and that excuse to get away from it, get away from the heat. Like, hey, I'm not cheating. They're using this tool, right? And this is going to just exist for a long time. And the other side of it is, um, the hacker hunter community, right? Like, imagine a scenario in which a hacker hunter wants to get notoriety, so they accuse someone of cheating, that someone then gets banned on stream because this person paid to have them banned, and then they have content ready to go, right? Like, they can release a bunch of content and say, "Hey, look, I was right. He was banned on stream live for all of us to see," right? And then they release all these clips and all this stuff. Like that scenario is the other side of awfully horrific and exploitive, and everything in between, right? It This calls into question the very integrity of Activision's ability to find and deal with cheaters, because now you don't even know if someone is permabanned, if they were actually banned, or if they were tooled on by this account, right? And so it's kind of one of those situations where if this is true, it's really, really bad. And so, all that being said, why is it important to know if this is true or not? One, Ziebler has never led us wrong, right? Like he's never been dishonest in the things that he says, and the things that he talks about. So there's not a credibility issue, right? It's simply, we don't like what he does, and so, as so he's kind of an enemy of the COD community in that way, right? Because he does something that negatively affects all of us, and we don't like that. But as an individual, he has never lied about cheats, or lied about their capabilities, or lied about this aspect of it. He treats it very businesslike, which I think we need to pay attention to, because that is a valuable asset to us to understand what's going on in this cheat community without us paying for cheats and trying it out for ourselves, right? So this is kind of the next best thing. So that being said, he could be lying about this for engagement, to boost his product. He does mention that he had figured it out enough to solve it for his users. So this could be something that he wants to sell as protection, right? You sign with me, you get protection from this tool. Okay. So that angle does exist, right? But the fact that VX Underground mentioned it and then tweeted about it again and retweeted him and said, "Remember that video game Zero Day we mentioned?" and basically said, "This is it," right? So that gives a lot of legitimacy to what he's saying, okay? And then I want to look at so he's been having a lot of conversations with the community, and so I want to look at one that he had with COD and 4K. And so he actually asked him, did you actually get Nuke Jesus banned? And so there was a lot of confusion. And he basically says, yes, in reality, I did get New Jesus banned. It was something I wasn't willing to admit or reveal at the time. Obviously, if you're testing something, right, a proof of concept, you want to test your device. You, you have to try it, right? And Nuke Jesus was apparently the target of that, which is really bad in a lot of ways as well. But that's probably a later topic. But I wanted to delve on some of the ramifications of this, right? Like, he says tomorrow we're going to find out the details. We're going to find out that he's convinced. He says in another post he's convinced the person who wrote the software to come forward and talk about it. And with Activision unbanning accounts now, hopefully they figured out what's going on and they will patch it. So tomorrow will be kind of a more details day. This is kind of more of a wider ramifications video. It's not good for the COD community, because it used to be if someone was permanently banned, there was something going on, right? And BobbyPoff was a big video, right? As I alluded to at the start of the at the top of this video. I mean, that was a big thing, right? Like a lot of people were like shocked, and that was a big conversation. That permanent bans are reviewed, right? Like that was not, a mistake. And now it turns out that that was faked by this software program. Same with New Jesus. He took a lot of heat from the community, right? A lot of names went after him. And it turns out he was set up in this. And I think it's important to understand that we are at a point right now where when it comes to cheating, I don't know if we can confidently say anybody is or isn't at this point, right? Because we don't know how long this tool has been active for. It could have been 2 months. It could have been a flaw, a day zero flaw in Ricochet with the launch of Caldera. Think of how many permanent bans we've seen since Caldera. There could be any number of those that are faked, right? There's no real way to know unless we somehow get intimate record keeping from whoever created this cheat. Like we're just finding about this now, and it's been what, 3 years, with Black Ops 6 on the horizon. I mean, how do we, like, this is so bad. It is one of the biggest bombshells, I think, that Warzone has ever seen. And I think it's important that we stop and recognize that no matter what goes forward from here, unless Ziebler is completely full of it, which again has not been the track record, then this is one of those bombshells that I think we have to stop and look at what we're talking. Like, we have to just stop and look at like this cheating thing from completely different angles, right? You can no longer rely on a permanent ban being an actual permanent ban, right? Shadow bans, if somebody is shadow banned, you can't point to that and say, oh, you were shadow banned because, because of something sus, because now there's definitely a possibility that somebody used this tool against you and the permanent ban didn't stick that time. Okay. And it's bad for people that are legitimately caught hacking, because now they have a great excuse, right? You can't tell me I'm cheating. You can't tell me I'm lying. You have no proof because this tool exists. It undermines, right? And this lands on the heels of what appears to be some big detections that went on, because there's a lot of cheat providers that are out right now. They're down. And so who got banned from the tool and who got banned from a cheat provider? Who knows? Not me, not you, not even the people at Activision, apparently, because they're banning people that, that are being targeted by this tool. So over the next couple of days, we got to take a look at it, and we got to see kind of the details that come out, how it works, what it's doing. And so expect, probably another video. I will try and read through it. If it's complicated, I will break it down and give you kind of as best a summary as I can do of how it works tomorrow. But yeah, this is a big deal, and we got to pay attention to it. All right. So that being said, I'm just going to end with, think about the things you've said over the last few weeks, depending on who you're talking about. Honestly, I think a lot of retractions are due based on what's come out. So take a look at that. But otherwise, yeah, this is one of those things. All right. I will catch you on the next one, and hopefully it's better news.